Hi, this is Tara. Welcome to Sky Gazing. Today we're studying Yoga Sutra number 7 in the Sadhana Pada. Let's see what it says. It says sukha-anuśayī rāgaḥ. Sukha, pleasure, anuśayī, following upon. Raga is attachment in this context. So Maharishi Ved Vyasa says attachment is the sequential attraction to pleasure. Note the meaning or the usage of the word sequential. The desire to possess, the thirst for, and the hankering after pleasure or the means thereof, preceded by a remembrance of the pleasure in one who has enjoyed it, is attachment. So there has been past experience, you have enjoyed it in the past, and therefore sequentially you want. So egoism, according to Vachaspati Mishra's glossary, egoism brought about by nescience, that is avidya, is the root of attachment. For this reason, he describes attachment as coming after egoism. Egoism also meaning asmita. So there's avidya, which is the ground. Asmita is the sense of identification with the self. And then arises raga or attachment. Therefore, attachment is the sequential attraction to pleasure. Swami Satyananda says raga is the liking accompanying pleasure. So whenever there's an object of pleasure and the mind runs after it, wishing to have the pleasurable experience again and again, this is called raga. This is not very difficult to eliminate. He says one can eliminate it from one's personality with a little jerk. Presume he means something like sort of knocking it out of our head, tapping ourselves and sort of moving on, given either by nature or created by one's own self. He's basically saying you can snap out of it. Raga and Dvesha bind us down to the lower levels of consciousness. So long as they are there, the mind cannot be raised to spiritual heights. If you have strong attractions and strong revulsions, your mind cannot be raised. It should be remembered that they are like two sides of the same coin. They are the twofold expression of an inner raga. Liking for one thing necessarily involves a disliking of another. So they are not the opposite. They are two sides of the mind. Swami Vivekananda says attachment is that which dwells on pleasure. We find pleasure in certain things and the mind, like a current, flows towards them. So Swami Vivekananda is saying this is also the existence of raga and dvesha is almost like a path that your mind is following. It's being directed towards. And that following the pleasure center, as it were, is attachment. We are never attached to anyone in whom we do not find pleasure. We find pleasure in very queer things sometimes, but the definition is just the same. Wherever we find pleasure, there we are attached. BKS Iyengar says pleasure leads to desire and emotional attachment. So dwelling on pleasurable experiences ignites desire and a sense of attraction, which creates attachment. Pleasurable experiences generate greed and lust, which strengthen attachment and stimulate a greater craving as one always wants more and more. One becomes absorbed by the pursuit of pleasure and addicted to the gratification of the senses. The aspirant may thus forget his chosen path and allow himself to be caught up in sorrow and sickness. I also just want to add here that this is something that the Buddha teaches in the 12 links of dependent origination, which is that craving, tanha, and raga, which is attachment, are basically the means of germinating the seed of karma. So you are entrapping yourself. The more strongly and intensely you feel attachment and desire, the more the seed of karma is sprouted and you are propelled, and it becomes a cause of the future births. Osho, I'm afraid I couldn't find, and I think I've come to the end of the road with Osho. So I'll try and figure out a text. Otherwise, I may have to replace Osho, whom I actually like, but thanking him for his wisdom thus far. I hope I find another resource. Barbara Stoller Miller says, passion follows from attachment to pleasure. Passion and hatred flourish when we mistakenly define ourselves in terms of past pleasures and miseries, so that attachment to our memories of those experiences produces in us extreme feelings of desire and malice. I have felt something before, therefore I assume that I will feel the same thing again. And maybe I have a memory of a certain intensity of experience, and so I keep chasing it. Thank you so much for listening. This was Sutra number 7. Come back tomorrow for Sutra number 8.